Ladies, grab your coffee, stilettos, and hop on the Hot Mess Express.
In like 3 weeks.
Not even. It's less than
2 weeks and
Unbelievable.
5 days. Are you nervous?
I feel fat. That's just straight up how I feel. Am I nervous? I'm just nervous of what I'm going to look like in a swimsuit. That's it. Everything else is
Well, why?
Because there's a standard in pageantry that the judges will know. Because they want to look for a representative who could compete in the international arena, right? Which would be Miss Universe. If this is the road to Miss Universe. There are other girls within the pageant that have always been skinny and fit that didn't have to lose weight like I did. So they're not working as hard as I am to lose weight. They're just,
So don't you think that is more beneficial for you? Because are you going to put that into your pageantry? Like
the whole journey? I could already did the whole journey. You know what I mean? It's what, if they see it that way, then yes. But the last time I competed, I was at least 15 pounds lighter than what I am now. So,
but you're also how much younger?
4 years ago. Not terrible. Not really young.
I mean, not like
right,
not young,
kids.
but you've had 2 kids.
No.
And part of the whole thing is being able to juggle all of the stuff, right? It's not only.
I just hope the thing is if the judges don't see past that, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm nervous about. And I think the whole gown situation really threw me off to where I didn't even want to work out. But I did. I worked out so hard that day. I was so mad. But that's it. I'm just nervous.
So let me ask you a question. So if you don't win, right? What are your thoughts about it?
I'm getting so fucking sad.
But why?
Because I want to win. Because I want to compete for Miss USA. But honestly, on the other side of it, in reality, I can join next year and I'll be more ready and more internationally prepared. I don't like losing. That's it.
Well, there's nothing.
Right. It's just the all the hard work that I put in and the sponsorships and But so there's 2 sides to it. That's my personal and my ego. But on the other side, the reward that I've gotten, even just joining, I'm moving into a new house, Ben getting in a second car and being able to focus on that growth that came with pageantry, me joining this has already, my teeth, my physical changes, that has already been the reward of all this. So it's greater than winning, right?
But where's your mental reward?
I've always wanted to win.
Okay, so but think about
where's my what do you mean by where's
and this goes right into the self.
And I need this.
This is the self-validation aspect, right? And so you talk about in all we all do this, right? I've done it. I want this. I'm competing, right, in August. Great. If I don't win, what is my mental gains from all of it?
You tell me. Tell me so I can kind of get a grasp on it.
I'm gonna give you perspective from the outside looking in, right? So I look at somebody who is, you've lost a lot of weight, right? Total health journey, right? So you've figured out a lot about your body, not only your body composition, but how you feel in certain things and how stress can affect you, right? Now, you've lost a lot of the baby weight that, all of us hold on to after kids. Okay, so you've got that. How are you feeling mentally right now? Do you feel worse than you did 6 months ago? No, you feel mentally better, right?
Definitely. There's pressure, but no, I definitely feel like I can wake up in the morning and I feel good.
Right. Right. And so think about it, fast forward and say your kids were my kids' age, right? and they're watching you go through this whole journey. And at the end, you're mad and upset that you didn't win, which is a valid feeling. But when you look at it, like, you just dedicated and changed your mindset and your growth of who you are as a person, right? Yes, you're determined. Yes, you're competitive. None of us, like, I don't like to lose, right? Like, let's be honest.
Right.
But in all reality, like, you're not,
From an outside,
you're not Kim anymore.
Right.
Right? You're not, I'm going to say, like,
I'm not
the kid Kim.
right.
You know what I mean? You're like,
I'm not the person who I was when I first started.
no.
No.
And that's why I say, like, your journey, if the judges don't see it, like, how far, like, because when you sent me like, hey, look, this is what I'm sitting in, this is what it's going to print, that's legit what I saw.
Okay.
I saw this little girl, right? And then, like, my favorite that I was looking at back and forth was the little girl on stage to a mom where, like, the confidence is different, that as an outsider looking, knowing you personally, right? You're more of the type of person to be like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, but you had to work to get there. And your kids are going to be like, Mom, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Like, I don't care if you lose, Mom. Like, look what you did. Like, look at all your accomplishments. And so that's the mind, like,
Okay.
where is your mental, where do you feel like your mental gains are on that? You know what I mean? Because I don't think that moms, wives, you know, and it's nothing against husbands, right? But I don't feel like women get enough mental acceptance from themselves, from their outside sources, right?
And I needed this conversation because, like, Ben would say the same thing, right? But he's still trying to get me through all this. Like, no, you gotta work out. You know, he's still being competitive with me because I need that
Right.
type of partner. But so I think there's a mind, like, an issue with just how I could see things on my own self. Like, right now, my body, it looks good, right? But for me, it's far from where my goal body is. Like, not far, I'm probably like 80% there with where I want to be. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, I'm feeling great, you know? But, you know, when I step out of competition mode, I step out of I want to win, I step out of, like, you know, that mindset, and I look at everything that had happened in the last 3 months. It's only been 3 months. Like, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty, you know what I mean? But I feel like the pressure of 19 more days and just, there's so much pressure, dude. Like, I'm finally feeling it. Ben's family's coming in, and another pressure is Ben's brother. Ben doesn't know this, but his brother's coming too, and his girl, the girl that I had issues with, but we're okay. I invited her in. There's, like, that whole part too that I'm going to face on the 24th. So there's mentally, like, so much going on into the pageant, but
So
ultimately,
so take all of that, right? How the hell do you function on a daily basis?
determination at this point. Like,
And what else?
and my babies, just,
Self-validation.
yeah.
You don't realize that you do it, right? Ben's there supporting you, yes, you know, and we all have our days where we cry. We put on that dress and we're like, you know what I mean? Of, like, you telling me you might want to change your shirt because it's not a good angle. And I'm all like, damn, I thought, like, my arms were, you know, like, because I go and I'm like, yes, you know, like, I feel good, I lost weight, da da da. And then you show me a picture and I'm like,
Girl, it's just angle.
right? It's all about the angles. But no, but in reality, like, that self-validation throughout the whole process of I'm doing it.
And the fact that you felt good about it, and you know, like, yeah, sure, for the camera, like, there's whole.
Girl, I wore that to my office and everything.
Right.
I don't
Love
care,
you sitting on your, but I don't want you to look back, especially like me, knowing that 5 months from now, you're not gonna look like the way you look now, and I still want you to appreciate, like, just.
So it's funny. So thinking about, you competing, me competing, and I thought about the same thing about whether or not, like, what happens if I don't win? How am I gonna feel? Right? That was a conversation that I had with myself the other night as I'm sitting here craving nothing but a freaking gelato with, again, it's one of those things, I can't have it. And so how do I curb that? My trainer, drink water with flavoring. And I'm like, there's no such thing as chocolate flavoring. You know what I mean? So, but I was thinking about, like, what happens if I don't win? I don't really care. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I have a son who is now more determined than ever, right? At the gym, he actually, he went to the gym last night. I couldn't. I had the gray seat on. You know what I mean? I'm single momming it. He's at the gym, working so hard because, he's like, if my mom can do it, I can do it. So I've watched him grow. You know what I mean? And then I look at, I've never had glutes. You know what I mean? And, they're there. They're not there. And Ashley will definitely tell you, they are nowhere close to being there. But the fact, I'm like, dang. You know what I mean? I feel good on a daily basis. So I don't care if I don't win, because the amount of humongous goals that I have surpassed, that you have surpassed, right? And I remember the one day you were like, I'm eating a salad, but I shouldn't be, and it's so good. When is the last time that you were like, I'm eating this and I shouldn't be, and it was something healthy and you were craving it and it was good for you? You know what I mean? No, I would rather a bag of potato chips. Now I'm like, meh, I'm good. You get out of it, you get out of the routine. And so it's important that we have to go back and look and go, my self-accomplishments mean so much more than
The title.
a title. Because at the end of the day, if you don't get that title, who are you?
Right.
You're still Kim.
Still the person that wakes up in my baby seat.
You're still the person that fought tooth and nail to get to where you needed to go. And yes, that determination, yeah, you'll probably, if you don't win and then you go to next year, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be 10 times worse, because you're going to be like, not happening again. You know what I mean? So your determination is going to be even more. But everybody, in order to, there's that really silly saying that's you, in order to get ahead, or to, when you have to fall, and you have to learn how to pick yourself back up. And for the longest time, I was like, Jesus, okay, how cliche, right? This is just, but in all reality, how many times have I fallen? And I've had to revalidate everything that I've done to go, I'm going to be better. I'm going to do better.
Right.
What's the legit thing? You can't focus on, you can focus on winning all you want. But if you really look at the whole main cause of this, it's to be a better kid.
Mm-hmm. It was to elevate my life. That was the goal, and pretty much that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I thought I would be getting if I won, I've already got.
Correct.
So
I
still want to win though.
I want you to win. I think we get to get all dressed up, but again, it all goes back to being able to understand and see your wins, your gains. You're not going to always see them. Surrounding yourself with people that are going to sit there and tell you, dude, you look great. You know what I mean? Or you're doing fantastic. You're going to have those days where you're just like, right? Like today you feel bloated. Today I feel, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh God, and I'm not okay today. I am not mentally okay today. I'm okay admitting I'm not mentally okay today, right? But at the same token, do I look any different? No. I'm still feeding my body what it needs. I'm still doing, so that in itself is a progress, because anybody who's been through trauma and that has their triggers and whatever, you get into those comfort modes of like, I'm not having a good mental health day, bring me my Oreos, and you know what I mean? Like, just let me sit here and watch Judge Judy and not do anything because you're depressed. No, I'm still gonna feed myself. I'm still gonna, strive for the wins of the day. It's not easy overcoming them. I'm sure I have cried, I don't know how many times today, and I've yelled and screamed today, and then I've been happy and I've laughed today.
So, how would you want to start? We're talking about self-validation, right? That's what we're talking about today. What made you come up with self-validation? Why do you think that's important for you to talk about today?
So, self-validation is something that a lot of people skip over in their journey.
What do you mean by self-validation, if we were to define it?
So, taking your wins and your losses, accepting them, and seeing how you're coming out of them, whether it could be good or bad, right? So you have to be honest with yourself. You've got to be willing to look at yourself and not put on a facade, not put on that face just to make yourself feel better, right? You have to legit sit down and go, okay, here were my good points today. Here were my bad points today. How did I deal with each of them? How could I do better? What's causing those? When you have a lot of trauma, it's really easy to let your validation of yourself and your feelings and your boundaries and everything get shut away and compartmentalized or pushed aside, because you're focusing on survival, right? You're focusing on trying to get past the trauma. For me, like, there's been a lot of triggers this whole week, right? I'm single momming it. I have a 2-year-old, for crying out loud. Like, I got the whole, Mommy, I took my diaper off. And I was like, what? Like, I just came to get water. Where's your diaper? I have Spoopy. Great, so now there's just a random diaper laying around. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but I still have to be, oh my gosh. So I have to be a mom. I still am a business owner. I have to do all of these things, right? And still be able to function. And at the end of the day, and I'm remodeling a bathroom. Okay, let's just add one more thing onto my plate. So I get done for the day yesterday, and I'm like, this was a shit of a day. It was horrible. I got nothing done. I didn't get as far as I wanted to. It's 2 a.m. and I'm so behind. And then I woke up this morning, and that's how I went to bed. Mind you, which is never a good idea. So then I woke up this morning in the same mood that I essentially went to bed in. I'm tired. I got 4 hours of sleep, so now you're adding stress on top of it. And I sat there in my car for a minute, and Gracie, and I kind of zoned out. And Gracie goes, "Mommy, you're so pretty." And I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? And I, why? Out of, Chloe, you already got a lollipop, right? And I'm thinking to myself, what do you want? But in reality, I was like, man, you know what? She's right. Children have that automatic love for not only themselves, but for other people. And it kind of reminded me, look at all the things that I'm doing by myself. Look at the stuff that I've overcome the last couple of days. And I had to text, so I texted Ashley this. I said, not checking in today. However, I have hit 14,000 steps every day. That was like, I looked at her and I was like, you want me to do how many steps? 10,000? Have you lost your mind? I said, you know what I mean? And so I had to sit there. I sat there for a minute and I went through all of the things that I've accomplished in the last couple of days, the things I haven't accomplished, what boundaries I allowed to not happen, right? So I set normal boundaries for myself. Dude, I freaking walked right over those boundaries all the time. Like for the last 3 days, I've just been, the boundaries are there for a reason so that I can pull myself back and go, I know what happens when I don't stay within my boundaries. I don't give myself the self-validation that I need, that my mental health requires, because I'm not getting it from anybody else. My 2-year-old has to remind me. You know what I mean? So when I talk about self-validation, it's accepting the good, the bad, the ugly, and how you can overcome them in a positive or negative light. Because let's be honest, I mean, not everything's going to be great. You know, even your wins can sometimes be losses. You know, I won the fact that she ate her dinner. I lost the fact that it didn't end up on her clothes or half of it on the wall or, you know, whatever. So, you know, my son is finally understanding and realizing the man that he wants to become and the man that he doesn't want to become. That's a win. The loss is how he came to that conclusion. He's hurting. He is mentally and physically hurting because of how he was treated and what he's finally seen and what he is like, I don't want to become. So he's changing his attitude. It's a win for me. It's a win for him. But it caused him so much hurt to get there. So not all validation is happy-go-lucky. And realizing it this week was honestly because of my son, you know, realizing that I'm like, yes, finally. Awesome. And then I was like, oh. Like, how do you feel about that? In front of his friends, he's like, I don't care. Okay. So it was a conversation that him and I had. You know, you have to accept. You either accept who you are and want to change, and know that your feelings are valid, your thoughts are valid, your wants and needs are valid. But who's going to Who's going to give you all of those? I'm not going to expect you to give me all of my needs. I'm not going to expect a spouse to give me all of my needs. Because I don't care what anybody says. At the end of the day, if we were alone, who's going to give us those things that we need? If you didn't have Ben, who's going to do that? You have to do it. So you see, like, I don't know if you've noticed, but like divorce is running rampant right now. It's insane. I mean, people who've been together for 40 some years, 20 years, 9 years, 11 years, 4 years. Literally, and I'm in my head thinking about all the people that I've talked to, right? And part of the reason is because these people have relied on their other half to give them the validation that they need. Had they just learned how to be happy within themselves and be able to, accept their faults, grow from them, you're never going to get over all of your faults. There's always going to be something. But could you have spared the confrontations? Could you have spared the divorce if you just worked on yourself, self-validating the good, the bad, the negative? I think everybody could. So that one was, it was a hard lesson for me to learn today, or not today, this past week, just because I'm like, man, I don't need you to tell me I'm pretty. I don't need you to tell me that, I've screwed up. Well, I've always screwed up. You know what I mean? I don't need you to sit there and be a negative Nancy or a positive Paula all the time. I need to take some of that responsibility for myself, my self-growth. Because if you can't, then you're just going to be that person that's expecting all the time.
I appreciate you guys listening. For more information, more reels, more crazy stories into my crazy hot mess of a life, hop on my Instagram. It's the Hot Mess Express, HOTT, the Hot Mess Express. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next time.